2015 would have been Elvis's 80th birthday, and although the King of Rock and Roll has long since passed on, people around the globe have been paying a tribute to him in their own way. But for one man, Elvis is more than just a musician to him. He is him. Pete Storm joins me as my guest today as one of the best Elvis tribute artists around. Not only does he sound like him, but he also looks like him too. Thank you so much for being our guest today.
My pleasure. Nice to meet you.
Well, I understand that there's a hit London West End show going on in May. We're going to be talking about that a bit later on, but I wanted to first find out how on earth you get into doing something like this as a career. Did you kind of, as a kid, used to be an Elvis fan?
Right, yeah, we'll go right back to the start. Basically, as far back as I can remember, I was an Elvis fan.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of... as soon as I could watch TV, because they constantly rerun Elvis movies on TV, and I was somehow drawn to Elvis through his movies. And then I've got a little audio clip of me and my mum when I was 5 years old singing Hound Dog, so I was kind of an Elvis fan from when I was real small, you know. And then later on through sort of teenage years, I would always I wasn't a huge fan by the time I was a teenager. I was kind of into heavy metal and rock music and stuff like that. But I would always kind of sing an Elvis song on karaoke. I used to sing The Wonder of You, and
everyone has their karaoke song, don't they?
That's it, yeah. And that was my one, yeah. And what happened was I was actually on holiday. This time I was about sort of mid-20s, I think, and I was on holiday in Tenerife. And we were on the front there at Tenerife, and we heard some Elvis music coming from a bar somewhere, and we could hear it, and we ran to this bar as fast as we could to find out where it was. And there was an Elvis tribute, Elvis impersonator, who was on with a band, and when he'd finished, in my confidence, I got up and asked the band, "Do you mind if I do a song?" You know, and they're like, "Yeah, all right then." So they let me do a song, and I did "Love Me Tender." I didn't even know all the words, but just kind of bluffed it. And when the song had finished, they actually offered me a job out there.
So you basically poached this guy's job.
Well, I didn't actually. I didn't act upon it for a good few years after, but it kind of planted a seed that maybe I could do this. Maybe I could take this a bit further. And what I actually did is I had singing lessons for 3 years to strengthen my voice, to try and get up to Elvis's range. And then I kind of jumped in at the deep end. I borrowed a friend's jumpsuit, and the football team I was playing for at the time, I hired their clubhouse, put the whole event on myself, and just did an Elvis show, got some backing tracks. And from that, I was offered 2 gigs from that, and that was the start of it all, really.
So quite a leap of faith in a way, really. I mean, sitting in front of me now, you clearly look like Elvis, but did you kind of have to, you had the idea and then you started to work on your look as well as your voice as well, or was it the other way around? Had people said to you that you look like him before, or you've
No, I'm a natural blonde, so the hair I've got is dyed black, and the sideburns are dyed black, and eyebrows, so everything's kind of maintained. I must admit, it was weird dyeing my hair for the first time. One of the very first gigs that I did was a world record, believe it or not. It was for the most Elvises singing an Elvis song at the same time, and it was in Harrods, and we all sung Viva Las Vegas. I think at the time the record was like 75 or something like that. So yeah, there was all guys in jumpsuits and gold lame and black leather, all singing Viva Las Vegas. So yeah, that was the first time I kind of really dyed my hair and went for it, which was a great experience. It was good fun, and I met a lot of cool people who I'm still in touch with today, actually. But yeah, that's the one drawback, is I kind of have to walk around like this with the sideburns and that. There's no escape, and many people sort of take great delight in shouting out "Elvis is in the building" and this, that, and the other. But that's the only drawback of this. You know, it's what I do. I mean, it's been kind of a dream come true, really.
I mean, you've been hugely successful. Lots of people. There are so many Elvis tributes out there. What do you think it is that you've got extra that has made you so successful? I mean, what is it about him that you seem to have managed to really grasp and reinterpret?
I like to think I've kind of got all bases covered, really, whereas certain guys doing it might just have the voice and might not have an Elvis-y look, and vice versa. I like to think I've kind of got the voice, the look, and the moves. But it all kind of took off for me in, I think it was 2010, when I actually I was working for Network Rail, and I'd been doing this part-time for about 2 years. And then I actually got made redundant from my job in Network Rail, and I got a small sort of lump sum to leave with, and I said as soon as that runs out, I'll start looking for another job. And it pushed me to go kind of more full time with this, and a bit more pushy with trying to get myself more work and more gigs on weekends, you know. And from that, I entered some competitions. There was one up in Blackpool at the time, and I made the top 10, and that was my first competition. And then that year, 2010, I entered one in Wales called Images of the King, and I think I won that. One, and the prize was to go to Memphis, which I'd never been.
Wow!
And compete in the World Championships, you know, for that competition. And again, another kind of amazing thing. I won out there in Memphis, so I became like a world champion, and that really kind of raised my profile from doing the competitions. And I haven't really looked back, to be honest. I've travelled all over the world with it now.
And obviously, as well as looking and performing like Elvis, then you're also know a lot about him. Tell us a little bit about his musical influences. Like, have you gone out of your way to learn about the man himself as well as him as a performer?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call myself an expert by any means on Elvis. There's people who kind of know everything out there that are real serious experts. But yeah, it's a labour of love with me. I mean, I'm constantly watching his live performances, his bootlegs, and of course reading up on Elvis. But yeah, as a lot of people know, he was into gospel music and country music from a very early age.
So his roots were in the church?
Absolutely, yeah.
And he actually performed quite a lot of gospel songs. Is it right that he started off doing that, then he went more into the pop thing, and he actually returned to the church a bit more? I'm not sure of the story myself. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, the early stuff was kind of that hillbilly rock and roll kind of style, just guitar, double bass, and drums, and that was where he leapt to fame, you know. And then he went into the movies, some of which he enjoyed, and towards the end he was really despondent with the poor scripts and stuff like that. But I think all throughout his life, he's always been searching for kind of the truth, and I think Priscilla, his wife at the time, once said that he was always asking himself why me, why was I chosen to do this. So I think the Bible and Christianity was throughout his life.
So a huge impact on him, and a drawing to spirituality from his church roots.
Absolutely.
And as you already mentioned, he recorded a few gospel songs, and I know that you've come with your guitar today. You're going to be performing one for us.
Yes, it's
Tell
actually
us about the first one.
A debut for me. I've never sung this song on guitar, so I've got my fingers crossed. I can,
exclusive.
I can pull it off. Yeah, I've done it with tracks and done it live many times, so I know the lyrics. But yeah, we'll give it a go.
Which song is it?
This is a song called "Help Me," which is written by a fella called Larry Gatlin, who's another country singer, famous country singer in America, who I was lucky enough to see last year, actually, when I was in Nashville, and he was performing the Grand Ole Opry show on their radio out there.
Wow.
In
Okay.
Nashville.
Well, we'll have a listen to that now.
Help me.
Lord, help me walk another mile, just one more mile, all alone. Lord, help me smile another smile, just one more smile. I know I just can't make it on my own. I never thought I needed help before. I thought that I could get by myself. Now I know I just can't take it anymore. With an humble heart on bending knees, I'm begging you, please help me. Come down from your golden throne to me, to lonely me. I need to feel the touch of your tender hand. Remove the chains of darkness, let me see. Lord, let me see just where I fit into your I could get by myself. Now I know I just can't take it anymore. With an humble heart on bended knees, I'm begging you, please help me. With an humble heart on bended knees, I'm begging you, please help me.
Woo! Sorry we don't have a big audience here to applaud you for that, Pete. We're going to stop for the traffic and travel here. Pete Storm is my guest, also known as Elvis, or if you want to put that the other way round, he's going to be staying with me here on Premier Drive. Keep listening on Premier Christian Radio.
When you...
This tribute act in just a moment after the traffic and travel. Drive on Premier Christian Radio with me, Loretta, and my guest today is Elvis, also known as Pete Storm, or maybe the other way round. January 2015 would have been Elvis's 80th birthday. He's a guy who's got fans from all different ages, and actually when I first met you today, Pete, I was surprised at how young you are, and like you said, you were a fan from being a child. What do you think it is about Elvis that gives him fans still all these years after he's even here?
I think for me, as a small child, it was the fact that he in his movies he always kind of played the hero, so you're kind of always drawn as a young child, you're always drawn to like superheroes. I mean, he was a pilot, wasn't he? He was a speedway rider, a car racing driver, all these kind of heroic figures, and I think that's probably what drew me to him in the first place. But I think the huge appeal of Elvis, he was just a one-off, you know. He kind of had everything. Obviously the amazing voice is what everyone thinks of. There's people tell me that that they don't like Elvis, and I think if you don't like Elvis, you don't like music, because he did so many different styles of music, you know. Obviously the gospel, the country, they had like a soul, like funk kind of phase that he went through. So many different songs, so many different kinds of music, you know.
At your shows, is it a real mix of people and ages in terms of the fans, in terms of the people come along? Are you ever surprised at people who turn out to be fans?
It's generally kind of like the middle-aged to older, but you do get young people, and I like to think sometimes at my shows I'm kind of helping Elvis's memory stay alive, because there's young kids who are there not by choice, but they suddenly become fans. You know, they see the white suit or whatever, and all of a sudden they're fans. And you know, when they go home, they're going to ask their folks more about Elvis and hopefully, you know, look into him and stuff like that.
Do you have a favourite Elvis era or a favourite time in terms of his career that you enjoy the most? Absolutely,
yeah. The kind of the era that I specialise in really is 1969 to 71. That's the era that I think I look...
Is that the jumpsuit era?
Yeah, he kind of started... He came back to his live performances in 69. Well, it was the 68 special. You might have seen the 68 comeback special where he wore the black leathers.
Oh, yes, yeah.
That was his kind of comeback. And then he from that, he realised how much he'd missed performing, you know, because he was tired of the movies. And he started this residency at the Hilton International... hotel at Las Vegas, and that was his big comeback to live performing in front of a big crowd, you know, and that was in 1969. And he started off with like two-piece karate suits, black and white karate suits, but what actually happened was, because he was doing these crazy karate moves on stage and stuff and dancing to the getting into the music, he'd end up splitting his pants quite a few times.
Is that true?
Apparently so, yeah. So that was how the jumpsuit was born, allegedly. So yeah, by sort of, when was it? Early 1970, yeah, February 1970, when he was performing. They were the first sort of jumpsuits that he wore. And then as he got older, the jumpsuits become more... dynamic, more elaborate, more sort of fantastical with all the jewels and the gold and stuff like that. But the early ones were kind of quite simple, and in a way I kind of like that. And he was ever so skinny when he was sort of 68, 69, 70. He was very thin, you know. It was only really the last couple of the years of his life that he really started to put on the weight, you know. So yeah, 69 to 71 is the era that I'm really into.
We spoke earlier about some of his church roots, and he is a guy who's been well documented that he struggled a lot with wrestling with his faith and with meaning and with depression and why he's here and all of those things. Was it the fame and fortune, you think, that kind of put a strain on that? Is that what moved him away from his church roots, do you think, or was he a searching person and a person who was looking for meaning his whole life anyway?
I think it was the fame, personally. I mean, it was from being just like a poor boy, you know, in a what they used to call a shotgun shack, from Tupelo, Mississippi. All of a sudden, he was like the most famous person in the world, you know, and he had all this adoration, money, and any normal person would struggle with that, I think. And like I said earlier, he was constantly searching and asking why had he been chosen to go through this. So yeah, we all know that he got into problems with drugs and stuff like that, but he was a human being, you know. It was it must have been a struggle, you know, not being able to leave your house.
But after all of that fame and fortune, he did actually show signs of making a return to his church and gospel roots, didn't he? And he did record some gospel songs later on in his career.
Yes, he certainly did. He did an album called How Great Thou Art, which I think won quite a few awards. He did a few gospel albums, actually, but I think there's a story that he wanted to do the actual title track from that album, How Great Thou Art. He wanted to do it live, and people were against it. They said, no, it won't go down well. People wouldn't relate to it, you know, it might alienate the crowd and this, that and that, because most of the crowd really kind of went to see him to do rock and roll, you know, your blue suede shoes and that kind of thing. But the story goes that he did it live one night, and it just like blew the crowd away, and he felt so like connected when he was singing it that basically he pretty much sung it every show, and he would always incorporate one gospel song into his show throughout the rest of his career.
Wow. Well, we're going to hear another gospel track now. Which one have you chosen for us to play?
This is one that's quite a personal song to me. It's one that I did in all the competitions that I won, that I performed when I was in the finals, and it's the Simon and Garfunkel song Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Well, we'll have a listen to that now.
When you're weary, feeling small, when the tears are in your eyes, I will dry them all. I'm on your side. Times get rough and the friends just can't be found. Oh, like a bridge all over troubled water, I will lay me down. Oh, like a bridge water, I will lay down. When you're down and out, when you're on the street, when the evening falls so hard, I will comfort you. I'll take your part. Oh, when darkness falls and the pain is all around, yeah, like a bridge all over troubled water, I will lay me down. Oh, like a bridge all over troubled water, Sail on, silver girl, sail on by. Your time has come to shine. All your dreams are on their way. See how they shine. Oh, if you need a friend, I'm sailing right behind. Yeah, like a bridge all over troubled water. I will ease your mind like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your
Wow, thank you very much, Pete. We'll be hearing a bit more from Pete into the next hour of the show. He's going to stick around for us. But right now, we're going to have a bit of a pause, of course, for this. Pete Storm, who is also Elvis. Pete, is a really unusual career choice that you've got. When you, back in the days when you were working for Network Rail, would you ever have imagined that this could be a career for you?
Well, like I said, once I'd been in that bar and they'd offered me the job, it kind of planted a seed in my mind. But I kind of procrastinated, really. I never really acted upon it until I kind of thought, time's getting on. I'm no spring chicken now. We're going to run out of years soon. So I kind of forced myself into having these singing lessons. And once my voice was strong enough, I kind of jumped in at the deep end.
It's one thing to plan to do that, but then to win awards and travel all over the world, it's a real endorsement to say that you're not just an Elvis impersonator, but you're really good at this. Can you imagine doing this when you're 80?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine flinging myself around on a stage when I'm that sort of age. I love what I do, and as long as I can do it and people enjoy it, I'd like to keep doing it. I mean, like you're saying, it's been an incredible journey, really, since I was made redundant, which turned out to be a blessing in disguise, really. And I've travelled all over the world, places I'd have never have been to without this sort of career. Like obviously Memphis and Nashville, Graceland, and I've, as well as all over Europe. I did a show in Macedonia. I opened a bowling rink in Macedonia. I'm off to Japan for the third time again in March of this year, doing a small tour of Japan. I've been to Australia, Brazil, as well as, of course, the US and Canada. And it's been quite a journey.
And we mentioned it briefly at the start of the show, but you've got a show coming up in London in May. Tell us about that.
Yes, it's not definite yet, so I can't say too much about it.
Top secret stuff.
Yeah, we've all got our fingers crossed, basically. The producers are in contacts with one of the theatres there on the West End, and we're hoping we can have our show on the West End, which will be the pinnacle for me, really. That's probably as good as it gets for an Elvis tribute artist, And the show's called That's the Way It Was. Elvis did a live movie in 1970 called That's the Way It Is, and that's kind of the era that I'm specialising in, when he was performing live in the white jumpsuit, and it's called That's the Way It Was.
So I guess, as you said, that would be an amazing pinnacle for you if that happens. Let's hope that it does. But in terms of what you've done already, what's been the highlight for you, if you could pick one thing?
If I could pick one thing, I think I won a competition in Collingwood, where they do it's like the biggest festival in the world, and it's a lovely town in Ontario in Canada, and that was kind of like the first kind of big win for me, and it just resonated within me somehow. I kind of felt like I'd made it, and everybody knew who I was in our field, and it was quite a wonderful experience. But I think the travelling has been the best part of it. I've got to see beautiful places in Australia and America and Canada, all over the world, and it's just I just enjoy the travelling, and it's fantastic meeting people and meeting other Elvis fans. I've actually just come back from Bad Nauheim. I did a show on Saturday for Elvis's birthday, which is where Elvis was based when he was in the army. And I did the summer festival there a year and a half ago, and they got me back for the birthday festival. We just did the one show in Bad Nauheim, which was great. So it's great to meet some old friends from Germany as well.
Well, you don't look bad for 80.
Smoke and mirrors. It's all makeup.
If anybody wants to find out a bit more about you, Pete, and obviously to find out if the show goes ahead in May, have you got a website that we can direct people to?
Yeah, we've got the www.that'sthewayitwas.co.uk for the show. There's a Facebook page, which is Elvis, That's the Way It Was. There's my website, which is petestorm.co.uk, and there's a Twitter, which is at Elvis West End.
At Elvis West End. Brilliant. Well, we can't let you go without performing for us a bit of an Elvis classic, so would you mind doing Blue Suede Shoes for us?
Okay, I'll give it a bash.
Brilliant. Pete Storm, thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you.
Well, it's the one for the money, two for the show. Three to get it ready, now go, can't go, but don't you step on my blue suede shoe. You do anything but lay off on my blue suede shoe. Well, you can knock me down, step on my face, slander my name all over the place. I'll do anything that you wanna do, but oh, honey, lay over them shoes, don't you step on my blue suede shoe. You do anything but lay off on my blue suede shoe. You can burn my house, steal my car, drink my liquor from an old fruit jar. Do anything that you wanna do, but oh, honey, lay over them shoes, and don't you step on my blue suede shoe. You do anything but lay off on my blue suede shoes. Well, it's a blue suede shoes, baby. Blue suede shoes, yeah. Blue suede shoes, baby. Blue suede shoes. You do anything but lay off on my blue suede shoes.
Brilliant, Pete. Thank you so much. If you do want to look up Pete, you can find him on Twitter as well, at Pete Storm or at Elvis West End. What a brilliant show it's been so far, and it doesn't finish there. In around 5 to 10 minutes' time, I'm going to be speaking to Dr.